I can still vividly remember that night. The night when everyone was waiting for the glittering of a lavish party. But I witnessed something more precious than the sparkle of a crystal chandelier. Copard, a luxury jewelry brand from Europe, held an exclusive dinner party at one of the five-star hotels in Shanghai. The invited guests who came were not random people. Top artists, socialites, to big businessmen. But among all those big names, two figures stole my attention that night. Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai. I attended the event not as the main guest, but as part of the documentation team. My job is simple: to make sure the camera captures every detail of the event, from the arrival of the stars to their interactions at the dinner table. But that night, my assignment turned into more than just documentation. I'm a witness. Witnesses of something that is not written in the rundown of events. Romantic revelations that few people pay attention to. The arrival that makes all turn their heads. The event began at about 7 in the evening. The red carpet stretches. The light of the camera lights flashes non-stop. Celebrities walked confidently, showing glamorous dresses and elegant suits. About 8 to 10, the mood suddenly changed. Zhang Linghe came. His towering height, a classic black suit with a satin bow tie, made him look like he came out of a fashion magazine. All the cameras were directed at him. However, the furor is not over. Shortly after, Zhao Jinmai appeared. She wore a dark blue dress with crystal details at the neck. Her hair was in a simple bun, but her elegant aura left many guests speechless. I could hear the admiring whispers of the journalists and guests. And that's where, for the first time that night, I saw something. Zhang Linghe's gaze as Zhao Jinmai walked through the crowd. It wasn't an ordinary look. There is admiration, there is pride, and there is something deeper. The dining table that bears witness. After the photo session and welcome, guests are welcomed into a large ballroom decorated with crystal chandeliers. The round tables are elegantly arranged, complete with aroma candles and white flower arrangements. I was able to help the documentation team position the camera in one of the corners. From there, I could clearly see who was sitting where. And whether by chance or indeed arranged, Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai were sitting at the same table, next to each other. They are seen talking briefly, occasionally laughing a little. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary interaction between two young celebrities. But from the way I observed, there was an inexplicably sweet tension. Several times, I saw Linghe leaning a little closer while speaking, as if he didn't want others to hear. And every time that happened, Zhao Jinmai lowered his head with an embarrassed smile. A night full of curiosity. The event went on as usual. A speech from the brand ambassador, a performance of classical music, and a presentation of the latest collection of Copard jewelry. But to be honest, my concern isn't all that. I was busier paying attention to the subtle interactions at Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai's table. There was a moment when the waiter poured wine, and their hands almost touched. I could clearly see how Zhao Jinmai took a slow breath, while Linghe just smiled a little. There were also times when one of the guests at their table told a long story, and both of them pretended to listen, but their views occasionally met secretly. All of which makes me wonder, what exactly are they hiding behind that polite smile? Unexpected expression. The highlight of the event came when the ballroom lights were dimmed, soft music began to play, and the MC let the guests enjoy dessert. That's when I saw something that made my heart beat faster. Zhang Linghe turned his head towards Zhao Jinmai. He spoke slowly, but since I was close enough to the camera pointed at the table, I was able to capture some of his words. I want you to know, tonight, I came not just for this event. I saw Zhao Jinmai looking at him confusedly, his lips tightly clenched. I came because I knew you were here. There was a long pause. A small smile appeared on Jinmai's face, a smile full of meaning but also doubt. He didn't answer, just lowered his head while playing with his spoon. However, I know, it's not an empty answer. It was the response of a girl who was holding back feelings. A look that cannot be hidden. Since that little confession, the atmosphere at the table has changed. They didn't talk much anymore, but their gazes met often, more often than before. I saw clearly how Linghe tried to remain calm in front of the other guests. even though the look in his eyes on Jinmai couldn't lie. Jinmai, on the other hand, occasionally steals a glance, then hurriedly turns his face away when his eyes are caught. I don't know if anyone else at the table noticed, but for me, the moment was like a confidential conversation that did not require words. After the party is over, the show ended at midnight. The guests began to move. Some were busy taking pictures again, others went straight to the exit. I happened to follow the documentation team to the area outside the ballroom, and that's where I saw the final moments that made the night feel even more full of mystery. Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai came out almost simultaneously. They walked hand in hand, not too close, but enough to make me believe there was something between them. Before the respective cars came, I saw Linghe whisper briefly to Jinmai. I didn't hear his words, but I saw clearly how Jinmai's eyes sparkled. Then he nodded slowly. After that, they parted. The secret behind the crystal chandelier. The evening was supposed to be just a fancy party to celebrate Copard and his new collection. But for me, that night was a witness to something much more precious. I don't know how their story goes. Will Zhang Linghe's romantic confession continue into something bigger? Or will it just be a sweet secret kept behind the party? What is clear, I know I have witnessed a moment that cannot be forgotten. A simple sentence, a meaningful look, and a romantic confession delivered not in front of the camera, but behind the sparkling crystal light. And I, as a source, will always remember it as the night when Zhang Linghe finally dared to reveal something to Zhao Jinmai.